Hey y'all, Pastor Chris here again. I hope you were able to answer some of the questions for yourself on the last video. Prayer or talking with God can oftentimes feel weird. It can feel like you're just, well, to be honest, talking to yourself. And that may be why a lot of people don't actually pray. An incredible book that discusses this spiritual discipline or practice is by author Donald Whitney. In his book, he says about prayer this: despite the importance of prayer, however, statistical surveys and experience seem to agree that a large percentage of professing Christians spend little time in prayer. It could be a whole host of reasons why we don't actually spend time talking with God. Maybe you just don't feel like you have anything to say, or you don't know what to say, or maybe you feel like God's not actually listening to me. He doesn't listen to me now. Recently, I was going through a bit of frustration with prayer. I would spend time praying and talking with God. An enormous amount of time. In fact, one time I spent 3 hours praying and talking with God to get nothing back from Him. I was deeply frustrated and deeply hurt. And yet, in the midst of this season, I read a fantastic book on prayer. It's a book that helped me learn and to understand prayer more. That book is entitled God on You. It was very helpful. And in the book, Pete Greig discusses his frustrations that we oftentimes feel when it comes to prayer. Why it is we don't hear from God, or why it doesn't seem like God is answering our prayers. He said this, though, in his book. Jesus taught consistently that the power of prayer is relational, not transactional. He taught the disciples to begin their prayers with "Our Father." He told the crowds that God loves to give good gifts to them because they are His children. He insisted that the purpose of prayer is the Father's glory, that the power of prayer flows from the Father's kindness. Ultimately, he addressed the desperate prayers of his life to his Father, Abba. When I read that, I was blown away, and ultimately, maybe I was feeling I wanted something from God instead of just being there for God. That my prayers were not heard because in that moment, I was spending time with God to get something from God. It was transactional. I wonder how many of us watching this don't pray because we believe God is just a cosmic genie, that He should grant us our wishes, our hopes, and our desires. Except when we actually pray and actually talk to God and are vulnerable with Him, we realize it's less about getting something from God instead of just being there for God. Where do we go from here? Maybe for you, you need to just start uttering some words. Things like, God, I'm here for you. God, what do you want from me? Maybe just some of you simply need to say, God, I need you. Help me to feel you and see you today. For some of you, it can be journaling through your prayers. Start small. You can't just leave your couch and expect to run a marathon. You have to train for it. Don't expect that you can spend 5 hours in praying. Just start with 5 seconds of prayer, 5 minutes with prayer, and so on. As we finish this week, I hope these steps are something you can implement as you begin praying more and more. Till next time.